Oh man, even though this is a shorter arc, this was such a satisfying chapter to read, boy. I was just like, oh, get him, Luffy, get him!
One Piece Chapter 317 K.O.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and action-packed in the tale that just keeps coming and coming and coming. Actually, that didn't sound very good. It sounded a little dirty, sorry. But it is One Piece. Our last chapter, of course, saw us with Luffy really just getting knocked down and getting back up. Knocked down and getting back up. And, man, just seeing the determination and the heart that this kid has. And just that I am not going to lose any of my crewmates. I'm not going to lose any of my friends. Awesome, awesome stuff. It ended up the volume, actually. And then we're going to go and move right along quickly over here into volume number 34. And this is kind of cool because the cover here, I have no idea who any of these people are. I'm assuming you've got the little Yoshi-looking dinosaur fella and some other guys over here. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know one guy looks like Luffy. And that's really about it. The other one here looks maybe like Zoro, and then you got a couple of guys that just look a little screwed up. Anyways, nonetheless, though, I don't know. I'm assuming that these are maybe some characters from the Water 7 that we're introduced to next after this. So nonetheless, though, let's get right into it. So the chapter goes and picks up obviously right where it left off, and it's one of those things where it's like you enjoy these moments, but at the same time, you look at this Foxy, the Silver Fox, and he's a joke. His crew is a joke. The shit that he does is underhanded, and you just want to see him get pummeled. You just want to see him get beaten like, just beaten with a rubber hose, and this is the chapter for that. This is the chapter for it. Luffy gets, man, and he winds up taking a couple more attacks too, which is crazy, getting knocked back down, boom, and then getting back up. And then, I mean, there's one attack where he goes and he takes a bunch of explosions to him and everything else. I don't know if I forget it's bombs or whatever the hell that gets thrown at him. And, man, I mean, and it looks like he's just going to get blown the funk up, and he gets back up, and then there's another time where I was going to say this Foxy actually winds up he slows down this cannonball thing, and he actually goes and jumps on this like little makeshift glider plane thing, and then it's just megaton ramming force or whatever, and he's gonna go at him again. And he just keeps obviously using, his cheap tactics with the slowing down, the slow beam and whatnot. And Luffy's at the point now where he's just barely able to stand up. His legs are shaking, And so, I mean, you're watching this and it's gut-wrenching, the whole fight, And then it gets towards the end and they're about to go and come at each other, right? And he's going to go and, you think he's going to go and do the slow beam thing, but he does some kind of rush or whatever. And then Luffy's like, Gum Gum, Gatling gun. And you just see these boxing gloves and an afro just all over the place, right? And you're like, okay, whatever, man. Is he going to slow these down? Is he going to what? Winds up culminating in this one thing where it's this great side pose where it looks like they're both just locked in like a punch. It looks like Luffy put up his hand to block the punch. And what happened is Luffy actually had a shard of a mirror that he found that was in the afro. So I don't know if it was from it broke off and got stuck in his afro from all that fun house of horrors that he went down through there, or if it just was like stuck in there, because you know how sometimes dudes be sticking afro picks and shit in their head. I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be like a joke. He had a little mirror in there too. But anyway, he's got this shard of this mirror, and I'm assuming that he had it on the end of his hand, so when he did the Gatling gun, it would be coming from a bunch of different places, and the beam would wind up hitting it. Nonetheless, though, it's cool because it all culminates in, him just kind of standing there. And at the beginning of the chapter, it's great because as Luffy keeps getting up, even Foxy's pirates start cheering for Luffy, Luffy, Luffy. And you can just hear it, Luffy, Luffy, And, which is great, and then Foxy's like, well, you can't cheer for him. And they're like, boss, just switching sides back and forth. But so it all culminates in this, and we wind up seeing that Luffy, of course, had this mirror, which we know reflects back the slow beam, the photon particles or whatever, right? And so now he's frozen, and I thought it was great because Luffy's just like, oh man, he just goes in and Gum Gum Flail. And if anybody knows anything about like medieval times and shit like that, a flail is a mean weapon, and his version of it looked cool too. He just jacks him up, but obviously you don't take that initial impact and that initial hit until, you start to come out of the slow thing. And then I love it because they show kind of over on the sidelines on the shore, you've got, first you've got Zoro, and Zoro's just like, yeah, 8. And they're like, what? You know, Nami's like, what? You know, and then I think it's Robin that's like 7. And they were counting down in their head, you know. So then by the time they get down to like 3, 2, they got the whole crowd counting with them, you know. And it's funny because one guy's like, why are we counting? It's like, I don't know. I think it's just cool. Let's see what happens. It's how everybody's doing it, right? And just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then all of a sudden, man, it's just it's the double page spread, right? And 0, and I mean, he just goes flying, sends him flying, right? And he just chokes on his own blood and shit, man. And then there's Luffy, the Afro champion, standing up there, man. Oh, I just love it. Oh my god. And everybody's like, what, boss? So, what a way to end that fight over there, man. And especially that little piece of shit, man. He really deserved that, too. As much as this is a light, fun comedy arc, this guy has done every just scummy, underhanded, you know, sly like a fox type of tactic, cheating, whatever you could possibly do, you know, is setting this whole thing up on this ship because he has a little house of horrors, fun house of horrors for, you know, people he fights. Bunch of nonsense, and I'm glad that Luffy wound up giving him a taste of his own medicine with the slow beam. That was such a fitting, just a wonderful ending, man. It was just so poetic, you know what I mean, to see that, and then just to see him turn his own move against him, and then just jerk him up with the flail, you know. So very, very cool stuff, man. I'm excited. Woo! Let's do this. Woo! You know. Anyway, so that's where the chapter ends off. We'll just tone it down a notch or two over there. You're at about a 9. We need you at about a 2. Okay. So anyways, that is where things leave off, though. And my chapter question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is ultimately, what were your thoughts on Luffy, you know, obviously turning the slow beam against him, and then, of course, the Gum Gum Flail move that we've now just seen for the first time, you know, in this here series. I always like seeing new moves from Luffy. It's inventive, it's ingenious, the way that Oda comes up with these things, so, or Luffy, however you want to look at it. Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit thumbs up, like a button, if you should think that I deserve it. And subscribe if you haven't done so already, or you'll get one of these too. We look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation. Yo, Foxy!
You got